20 million people in such a concentration in one place, they didn't come together because they've fallen in love with each other, they can't live without each other, no. They've come together only for survival. After survival, a few other things may be happening, but essentially in search of survival. This is exactly what I'm saying. Survival has been raised to heaven simply because you are so strongly identified with the physicality. Now once again, all this looks philosophical, no. It is… all of us have grown up from being a small infant to who we are right now, isn't it? Did anybody drop like this? Did any of you drop as you are? I'm sorry for your mothers. So, you clearly know this is something you're gathering. Whether you gather a decent amount or an indecent amount is left to you, but it is gathering for sure. Is it not simple, fundamental for human intelligence to know what I gather, whether it's my clothes or things or body, cannot be me? Is it something that you need some kind of a genius to know this, I'm asking? Just basic intelligence is able to know this, but you deny yourself that and try to live. Well, if you live so foolishly, how can you avoid suffering? Suffering is not a consequence of the situations of life. Suffering is a consequence of ignorance. People have gone about philosophizing how ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss is like… don't do… whatever I say right now, nobody need to do this, okay? If somebody falls off the balcony or jumps off the balcony, it will feel wonderful till you hit the ground. Have you ever done skydiving? It feels fantastic.
No, but this again, actually, it's an interesting thing you touched upon. A lot of people, and this is not near-death experience, but flirting with death. And what is this fascination with flirting with death?
Butterflies in the stomach.
Yeah.
They like the butterflies in the stomach because life is not enough. For no human being, life is enough, you understand? They're trying to handle it in different ways. They want to be something more. Somebody thinks more money will do it, they'll run after it. Once they go into it, the situations will catch up and keep them going forever. Somebody will think, go on conquest, somebody will go shopping, somebody… these are all different ways people are trying to enhance themselves. Someone will run after knowledge, someone will run after love. In some way, you want to be little more. This longing to expand is constantly there in every human life. Philosophies have been woven to contain it. Don't desire for too much, keep it low, whatever. These philosophies only work either when you're sick or when you're very old. When something is happening in you, you want more, no question about it. Now, this longing to expand is a limitless longing. However much you have grown, still there is a longing. If this longing finds a fundamental physical expression, we call this sexuality. If it finds an emotional expression, we call this love. All these things are just to include and expand. If it finds a psychological expression, as I said, it's either conquest or ambition or greed or shopping. If it finds expression in a conscious way, then it's called a spiritual process, or a better word is yoga. The word yoga means to unite, union. What does union mean? That means what is individual right now in your experience. In reality, you're not an individual. In reality, in a mass of life, you are floating just like a bubble, like a soap bubble. But in your experience, because of the psychological construct within you, you are experiencing yourself as an individual. If this individual has to find fulfillment, he has to become universal. How do I become universal? There are fantastic parables in our culture, you heard about that. Krishna is playing outside, Yashoda thinks he may be eating mud. She says, open your mouth, and she sees the whole cosmos within his mouth. This is a parable to tell you that he is living in such a state of inclusion, which found expression in a different way in the Kurukshetra about the Vishwarupa Darshana. What all this is trying to say is, he is not living as an individual, he is living as a universal entity. This is being said to somebody because it's possible for that somebody also
To be that.
to become that. Becoming this does not mean it's an attainment, it's only a realization. This is why enlightenment is never referred to as an attainment. It is always a realization because it's already there. It's just for you to realize. See, one must understand this. We are not changing the framework of reality, we are just realizing what is the reality. So realization is the thing. It is not an attainment, it is not an accomplishment, it is not like you went and sat on top of a mountain. Now, people withdraw. Let's say I'm sure most of you go on a vacation, you're fed up with what's happening in Mumbai. When you go for a vacation, you generally want to go to a quieter place, edge of a jungle. But there must be a resort. Because your body has become like this, you cannot live in the jungle. Believe me, most of you, if I make you live in the jungle for 5 days, you're finished. You won't be able to take it. I've had this experience of, for weeks on end, I'm by myself, eating off the jungle and living off the forest. It takes a different physicality and mentality and above all, an inner strength to be there. Just the body itself is not ready because it's gotten used to a certain level of comfort, which is an unnatural level of comfort. Everything, people are allergic to trees. It's becoming a big thing. In United States, whoever you ask, they're allergic to trees, allergic to grass, allergic to sunlight. I think it's beginning to happen here also, because people are living in enclosed incubators, maintaining the right kind of temperature for their comfort. So when you live like this, the physical seed, the seed that your parents gave you, the seed which is carried for millions of years, you're weakening this. When you live like this, the next generation will be definitely weaker than the way you are physically. As it is, if you compare yourself to any generation of the past, we are the weakest generation ever physically. Never before human beings have been this weak in their body. Never before it's been so that they can't eat a full stomach and digest whatever they eat. Today, everybody has to count how much they're eating. If they eat little more, there are problems. So we are the weakest generation ever. We have done this to ourselves. And this is the seed, we're going to pass it on to the next generation and the next generation. Because the nature of physicality is the 5 elements. The more you're in contact with the 5 elements, the stronger and more robust this body will be. Creating a robust body is an important part of spiritual process, because if your body has become an issue, right now your back is aching. I am talking about enlightenment. Are you interested? Even if God appears, you'll say, my backache should go. Just look at all the prayers. 99% of the prayers on this planet are, give me this, give me that, save me, protect me, isn't it? There is nothing beyond, no other higher dimension is happening. You're trying to root your survival through heaven, it's a very inefficient way of doing it.
But the majority of temples are like that, majority of our people are praying like that, the prayers have become transactional in nature. I do not want to be judgmental about it, because people seems to be relating with God in a very transactional way. And I feel maybe this is just a way to transmit energies, and it may be because so many people, if collectively doing this, and this is not which is happened by design, this has happened organically. How do you explain that?
There was a design. In this culture, there was a design as to how to do. If you go back into the ancient prayers, you will see the only prayer is… See, you must understand this first of all. Of the Trinity that we hold, Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, there are only two temples for Brahma, the creator. That speaks volumes about our gratitude. There were not many temples for Vishnu. They have come up in the last 600 to 800 years. But before that, there were thousands of temples for Shiva. Why would anybody want to worship a destroyer? That's one guy who you must avoid, isn't it? You would want to express your gratitude to the Creator and make deals with the maintenance aspect of life. Destroyer you must avoid. No, only destroyer. And the prayers were always "Oh Mahadeva, destroy me the way I am so that I can become like you." Because the aspiration is not to reach God, but to become divine. Becoming divine means you have broken the limitations which are set up by the compulsive nature of your physicality. If you break those limitations, then always you're seen as divine. And this is the tradition which still people are doing unconsciously. The moment you say, somebody is a saint, somebody is a sage, somebody is a yogi, you know him, you don't know him, a whole town will come and touch his feet. Because the moment you say that he has broken some limitation of his physical nature, immediately people think he's worth bowing down to, worshipping, whatever. And above all, there is something to receive from that. So essentially, the whole culture was designed to be spiritually oriented. Spiritually oriented need not necessarily mean going into the jungle or whatever. It simply means that you are living a full-fledged life. See, your physicality will not go away, it's here. It will not go. It is just that the compulsions of physical nature are gone and you are exploring the other dimensions of who you are. What I would like to say is, anyway we are here, and it is also a fact, anyway we will die. Is that okay? It's not my wish, I'll bless you with a long life, but even with blessing you will die. Yes, maybe others have told you, if I bless you, you will not die. I'm telling you, even if I bless you, you will live well and die, but you will die. Now, before you fall dead, is it not important? Is it not important that at least you know this piece of life in its entirety? You may not know the cosmos, doesn't matter, but at least this piece of life in its entirety, full breadth and scope of what this is, you must experience. If you leave this place without even experiencing this life, you're not only an unfulfilled life, you're a wasteful life. So whatever social philosophies we will evolve, leave that aside. Just look at it in terms of life. Do not call your job, your family, your entertainment, your holidays as life. Life is here. What is throbbing here is life. This is just activity, this is just arrangements we make. All these arrangements we made only for the well-being of this life, isn't it? So if you go away without experiencing the full depth and dimension of this life, it is a wasted life. So spiritual process means just this, you want the full cake, you are not willing to eat a cut.